welcome back to the Eseosa blog, the African blogging station, Pan-African blogging station, the African Defense Line, and the Africa for Africa. Yeah, it has been 3 days or 4 days here since I was live talking about Africa, talking about African leaders, of the children of Africans, and the African soldiers. Right now, we know what is going on in Niger Republic. There's an overthrow of the government, democratically elected government in Niger, and yeah, Africa is on the move. Africa is on the edge of losing everything it owns, and at the same time, is on the edge and regaining its freedom back. Why am I saying this? Uh, Many people we say what the hell is going on in Africa. Uh, this it's almost end time for Africa because the time is running out quickly, very quickly, and it's time. I will say this to all African soldiers. If you know you are a military personnel in Africa, or you are a military uh, or a soldier in Africa, get ready. The worst is yet to come. Don't think military overthrow in this period is the rightful answer to all the problem we are facing because the problem we are facing is man-made problems in Africa. Why am I saying this? Because we have seen a lot in Africa since almost 400 years of slavery and let me say half freedom. We still remain slaves. We still have this slavery mentality. And this is a very, very big problem. This is the biggest problem Africa is facing right now. And yeah, just bear with me. I'm coming back. Let me put on my microphone because I forgot to put it. And I hope you people forgive me because I need to set my microphone very well so that people understand what I'm talking about. You see, Africa is a great country, one of the continent. It's one of the greatest continent that had ever existed in the whole world. And today, African children are fighting for their freedom. Sorry for the disturbance. We have to be fighting for our freedom, not because we want to be fighting for our freedom, but because we are being forced. We are being forced to do so in some manners. You know, we are being forced to do so in a manner that really doesn't matter what we do now. You see, after during the colonization, Africa militaries were under the colonial power, and the African soldiers were used against Africans, to say the fact. In Nigeria, African soldiers, African policemen were used against Nigerians fighting for their freedom. And after the independence of almost all African countries, we could see that the training and the education of our soldiers were still with the colonial master and is still with the colonial master today. And we can see the disadvantage we're having here. Uh, you see, in the French colonies, uh, the French colonies in Africa is in the deep problem. I regret to say this. You see, the French and the English colonies or the British colonies in Africa, we are having this problem of meta slavery that we are still living on because we thought we are free. We are not free. We are just existing because they want us to be existing. We are existing in Africa because they want us to be existing because we can see how just one war can destabilize Africa. The Ukraine and the Russia war. can destabilize Africa, make Africa to be a beggar, make Africa leaders to be a beggar. You see how fragile the freedom of Africa is. And now today we are begging in Russia to give us food to eat, to feed our people. When we have our both hands, when we have the knowledge from our forefather to be farming, to feed ourselves, but we ignore that. We decided to be dependent on foreign food. We have what the Nigerians call idomi from China. We have the wheat from Ukraine and Russia. We have the fertilizer from Ukraine and Russia. We have the petroleum from Britain and other Western country. We have almost everything that is being imported into Africa. Africa is so dependent that we cannot even survive alone right now. And this is the biggest problem. The French and the British and the Americans, this is the power that, that they are using against Africa. Africa now need to wake up. It's not too late. It's not too late. Stop begging. Go back to South Africa. Go and do farming. Go back to Kenya. Go and do farming. Go back to Niger. Go and do farming. Go back to Chad. Go and do farming. Go back to Nigeria. Go and do farming. Because if we cannot feed ourselves, then we doesn't have freedom. Because the freedom is gone. In the case of Niger today, you see, there are a lot of missionaries in Africa that is really going on today. You see, freedom is not gained for nothing because freedom must be fought for. You have to fight for your freedom. But how much we have to pay for our freedom? That is the number two question. How much do freedom cost? Does it cost life? Does we have to be paying forever and ever? When people just come up to say praise the military that took over in Niger Republic or in Mali, in all these places, we know these people are not doing this themselves. They are being funded by another country, by another Western country. They are being funded by another Western country or from Russia or that from China. And we can see how Africa people are being used against Africa. We don't understand what is going on with us, but we just keep on talking rubbish in or here. You see, African leaders between two months went to Russia to beg for food. They may be saying in the newspaper, oh, Africans, they want freedom, they want to be treated as equal. How can you be treated as equal? How can you be treated as equal begging? And somebody is telling you, is giving you free food. That is an example of degrading Africa to the lowest extent. You see, it just disgraces people. The whole president of when you people were disgraced to the lowest that can ever imagine. I've always said this. We Africa, whether you're a leader or you are a normal human being in Africa, let's one, let two, let's don't join any side in this war because they are going to use us as a scapegoat, no matter who, and which side of them, even if it's Russia, if it is Ukraine, or if it is NATO, if it is America, they are going to use us to settle their problem. And this is going to be very, very painful. And African soldiers must be very ready to defend Africa because this is coming and it's coming. A year and 6 months ago, I came out to write things here that Africa should get ready, that things will be happening in Africa. There will be overthrows of government. There will be destabilization of government. There will be destabilization of regions in Africa. But we ignore all these signs that was coming to Africa. We could have prevented a lot if we put things into consideration that period. By now, by now, Africans should have wheat on its own, should have maize on its own, if we would have started that period to start farming, do it is quickly. You see, Ukraine is still in war. They are still in war and they are still exporting maize, wheat to Africa. Russia is in war. They are still exporting to Africa. What a world are we living in Africa? What leaders are we choosing? The leaders that will come out to be talking as if they are God, the leaders that will come out to be talking so that they could be praised, to say, oh, this one is talking. We have enough talking. We have enough talking for 400 years. And this is time to put our talking into working, because it doesn't matter what you say if you cannot feed yourself. If another person is feeding you, clothing you, then educating you, give you a religion, then what else? What is the meaning of freedom then for Africa? If we cannot do all this about ourselves, feed ourselves, have our own religion, educate ourselves, defend ourselves, what are we doing in Africa then? You see, we have been waiting for Africa leader to come out to tell the world, I have did this, I have did that for my people. I will feed my people when it comes to any sort of catastrophe in Africa, but we cannot say this. Instead, we will invite the UN, we will invite all other organizations that is really destroying Africa. Then we will invite them to be coming into Africa to be destroying us. Africa have never endured freedom, had never had freedom. But this is time, it's now or never. It depends on how we stand now. I'm pleading with the military in Niger to go back to barrack, to go and train how to defend Africa, not how to take power, not how to take power from people. Military are meant to defend the interests of the nation. Political system in the nation belongs to the people, not the military, not even the police. Africa should go back to the barracks. Africa soldiers go back to the barrack. Go and be prepared for war that is coming to you, because it's coming, and we can see the handwriting on the wall, because the stabilization of Africa is coming. It's already on this way. And those of you talking and talking and talking without farming, without bringing food on the table for the families, I believe this is just useless talk. You can talk wherever you want to. You can go to the United Nations and talk. You can go to World Trade Center and talk. You can go to anywhere you want to go to and talk. That won't help Africa in any way. What will help Africa is how we defend ourselves, how we defend our people, how we feed our people, how we educate our people, how we respect our religion, not the religion of the white man, not the education of the white man, because the education of the white man have never helped Africa in any form or in any way. Why can't we go back to our roots? We have our root and it's still existing. It's not lost. We still have every knowledge. It's in us. It's in us. It's in us, in our DNA. It's all a block. When you reactivate it, then you will know how powerful you are. Africa is one of the greatest continents that's ever existed. The black people is one of the most intelligent race that have ever existed, but we lack of self freedom. We doesn't give freedom to ourselves. And that is the biggest problem. That's why our freedom is being taken by the Westerners, by the Americans, now by the Chinese and the Russians. Africa is experiencing so many things. In Sudan today, in South Sudan, in Yemen, in Eritrea, in Somalia, in Ethiopia in some ways, in Somalia, in Egypt, in Liberia, in Chad, in Mali, in you can see I can't count all of them. Nigeria is also experiencing its problem. Cameroon. Then you have to ask yourself, who and where is free in Africa? There's no freedom in Africa. Even in Ghana, there's no freedom. If you believe you want to say Ghana, tell you more about Ghana, then you will understand that Africa need freedom. Freedom for Africa. So thank you very much. And please share and subscribe to this page, Eseosa blogging station. Eseosa blog. You see it here as it's written here. And please don't forget to do that because this is going to be coming frequently and very, very educative. So thank you very much. Have a great day. How much do I have to pay for my freedom? How much do I have to feel for my freedom? How many letters do I have to write for my freedoms? How many times do I have to fight for my freedom?